Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you to today's webinar. I am Andrea Rosman, your webinar host from Main Street ROI. We are very excited to be kicking off another of our Master Your Marketing series, where we bring together our leaders in the digital marketing world to bring you great content focused on ways you can grow your business. This series is sponsored by all of our partners: Active Demand, AdRoll, SpyFu, WooRank, AdThis, Optimizer, and iContact. Lots and lots of great information here. For today's webinar, we are really excited to welcome Elliot Moore, North America Marketing Manager for AdRoll. His presentation will be about 35 to 40 minutes, and then we're going to leave plenty of room at the end for a live Q&A session. Please feel free to type any questions you have in the Q&A box along the way, and we will get back to them at the end of the webinar. Today's webinar, as all of our webinars, will be recorded, and we're going to send it out to you, the replay, along with the PDF of the slides, to everyone who has signed up. So it'll be in your email box sometimes about 24 hours or less, and sometimes 24 hours or more. With that, I am going to turn the webinar over to Elliot so he can get started.
Great, thanks, Andrea. So today's webinar, we're really going to be discussing kind of the basics around cross-device success online, cross-device marketing, and how you can leverage mobile for that specifically. As Andrea said, my name is Elliot Moore. I'm the North America Marketing Manager here at AdRoll, overseeing everything from content to partnerships to events, really, working day in and day out to help ensure that all of our clients are making the most out of the latest tips, trends, and strategies to be successful online. So today, just a quick agenda here. We'll be running through, a background of cross-device, why it's important, and where it lies within the marketing funnel. We'll then discuss how to leverage mobile platforms and in order to reach customers on those devices. And then I'll run through how you can measure the success of mobile campaigns in the best way possible. And then we'll end that with questions. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free though to ask them, and we'll try our best to get to them at the end. This, as Andrea said, I might go through it a little quicker. This should take around 25 or 30 minutes total. So first, we'll start with why even care about mobile or cross-device marketing. Now, I wanted to start with a definition of cross-device marketing, which many of you may already know, but essentially, it's a little bit different than cross-platform. Cross-device means your ads are reaching users not only on desktop, but also on devices such as tablets and phones, and increasingly, as we're becoming more and more sophisticated, moving to things like smart TVs, even virtual reality headsets, or within games, and even now smart refrigerators. People are starting to talk about advertising on those. So it's really blowing up and really evolving. But for the majority of today's presentation, we'll be focusing in on advertising across desktop, mobile, and tablets, because that's really the brunt of cross-device marketing today. So why care about it? Well, the numbers don't lie. The typical amount of connected devices that a digital consumer owns is nearly 4 now. This means that they have the laptop, a phone, a tablet, and even one other device on top of that, where you can market to them with ads to keep your brand top of mind. Because of this, nearly 3/4 of marketers say connecting users across devices is one of their top priorities for marketing throughout the rest of the year. Also, 67% of customers have used multiple devices sequentially to shop online, meaning that they might research your brand on their desktop and then go home and look at it on their tablet again. So they're using multiple different platforms in order to research your products online. Additionally, customers who shop on multiple devices have a 30% higher lifetime value. And this really makes sense when you think about it, right? Because if you're able to reach them on multiple different devices in multiple different environments, you're really keeping your brand top of mind for them, and you're making sure that your brand has that staying power when they're in market to buy a product like yours. And then finally, 71% of customers react negatively to brand inconsistencies across devices. We'll touch on this a little bit later, but essentially it's just saying one thing to keep in mind with cross-device marketing is that all of your marketing and all of your branding should be very consistent, so that if someone clicks on your ad within their mobile phone and then researches it later on their desktop, they really should have essentially the same experience with your brand across both platforms, or else you might lose them and they might churn. Secondly, why care about mobile marketing in this? Well, mobile marketing, as many of us know, is absolutely booming right now. 62% of smartphone users currently have made a mobile purchase within the past 6 months, meaning that they have purchased the product on their phone, and most of them have done their research on their phone as well. 64% of e-commerce sales actually are going to be made on mobile devices within 2018. This was quite shocking to a lot of us when we read this, but the majority of sales are now being made on mobile devices. So people are moving off of a traditional desktop, and they're starting to make their purchases on tablets, iPads, smartphones, things like that. So it's really important to make sure that your ads and your messaging and even your website are mobile optimized, because this is where the majority of your customers will probably be looking to buy your product. And this translates to sales, right? Over 1.3 trillion in total mobile e-commerce sales in 2017, and this is definitely expected to grow throughout the rest of 2018, and especially as the holidays come up in Q4. This represents nearly a 25% increase in year-over-year sales in 2017, and I believe that's also expected to grow in percentage year-over-year. And a lot of this is because more than 50% of Americans now own a tablet device. So something that maybe 5 years ago was a unique thing to own, to buy an iPad or whatever it might be, is now something that the majority of Americans have within their repertoire. So why is this mobile really important for you? It's because it plays into full funnel marketing in general, right? One of the most important things for marketers to do is to make sure that they're employing a full funnel marketing strategy. And by making sure that your campaigns are spreading across devices, you're ensuring that you're helping to ensure at least that you're reaching users across each stage of the funnel. Someone who is researching your product may be more likely just to look at it on their phone as they're at their kid's soccer game, or sitting waiting for a movie to start. But then as they move down the funnel, they might actually go home and sit in front of their desktop computer and pull their card out and buy that online like that. So one of the biggest, most important ways to ensure that you're really employing this full funnel marketing strategy is to help ensure that you're reaching users as they bounce across devices, because this is also going to follow users as they move through the conversion cycle from someone who may not have heard about your brand to someone who becomes familiar with your product, and then eventually reaches the bottom of the funnel and converts, or even if you upsell them. Again, just really hitting on this. For the full funnel marketing strategy here, if you're reaching people across the different devices, you're helping make sure that you reach them in the awareness stage, the evaluation stage, and the purchase stage, which with each of your ads, because you're able to follow them wherever they might be going online on different platforms. So from here, I wanted to dive into how you can reach your mobile audience, right? And I think one really important thing about mobile is that in some ways it can be, strategy agnostic. There are a lot of different strategies you can employ in order to make sure your ads are running on mobile devices. But one of the really, the most important ways to do this and the easiest ways to do this is to employ a programmatic strategy, right? Programmatic advertising simply means that it's advertising running based off of algorithms that can bid to place ads in front of your target audiences based on their intent to purchase with you. Two of the main strategies falling within programmatic include retargeting, which simply means serving relevant ads to users who have visited your site but not necessarily converted yet, and then prospecting, which would be finding net new users who employ the same buying intent as people who have already purchased on your site, and then driving those net new users to your site. So it's essentially finding what would be considered almost a lookalike audience to your current converters and then driving them to your site. And there are many different platforms you can do this. Web, which would be traditional display ads, where you're thinking like an ESPN where you would see ads on the side, or a New York Times where you see ads on the side. This would be considered traditional web display ads. Social media, right there at the bottom, you can see the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, things like that. And then also CRM or email. You can actually employ a programmatic strategy across email as well, which is a great way to reach people across devices, because you can send them relevant advertising of products they may have viewed to their inbox while they're at work, and they might be able to read it there, but also when they're at home on like a Sunday, checking their email before they have to go into work, or checking, their personal email, whatever they might be doing, you can also send it to them within their phone. So it's a great way to make sure your ads that you're serving are really reaching people wherever they are online. One thing I really wanted to hit on here is the social media aspect of cross-device and mobile marketing. I think a lot of customers that we have are unsure of how they can change their ads or optimize their ads to make sure that they're really resonating with users on mobile devices as well as desktop. And one thing that I think is the easiest way to do this is to employ a vendor that can serve ads both on web but also on social media. And social media is a fantastic way to ensure that your ads are being served both on desktop and mobile, and that those ads are automatically being optimized based on the specific platform, right? Because if someone views one of your ads within Facebook on their desktop, that ad will automatically be able to translate to mobile as well. And it'll especially be able to translate to Instagram if you're running through that as well. And when we're thinking about this, this is so important because the numbers for social media really don't lie, right? Even though Facebook has been in the news a lot lately because of their different privacy issues, they still are kind of the king of social media right now. They have over 2 billion active users. And they're still the primary social media platform for the people who are probably going to purchase your product. I know trending recently, we've heard Gen Zers, or people 20 and below, typically are using Facebook a little bit less and focusing more on Instagram. However, they don't hold the purchasing power that will actually end up leading to conversions on your site, right? So although they may eventually be the future, it's still really important to ensure that you're employing this Facebook strategy, because that will be the platform where you're able to market to older millennials, Gen Xers and above, who will have that expendable income to purchase your products on your site. That being said, Instagram right now is nearing 1 billion users itself, so it is the second most used of these 4 platforms. Twitter is at around 340 million, and Instagram is around 250 million, and all of this leads to just a huge number of really active users for you to get your brand in front of your target audience on both desktop and mobile, because they will be served on both platforms, right? And this really translates to success. Recently, it was reported that the number 8 reason people use social media overall is to research brands. So they're looking up your brand's pages online, and they're also expecting to see those ads online, right? 50% of Gen Zers, again, that's the basically 20-year-olds and below, think social media is the most relevant platform for ads. And 42% of millennials, which would be generation older up to about mid-30s now think that social media is the most relevant channel for ads, meaning that they're expecting to see ads for this platform, and they also think it's the most relevant way to reach them and get your brand's voice in front of them. So this is incredibly important, and all of it translates to tangible results for your business. 76% of consumers have purchased a product they've seen in a brand's social media account. That's huge. That's way over the majority of people are looking at your brand's product on social media, on their mobile devices, as well as desktop, and they're using that brand affinity to convert on your site. So that's huge. One thing that's really important here is that you're gonna wanna make sure that all of these are connected. One really easy way to do this is to use one powerful platform like an ad roll to make sure that you can connect the results for Facebook and Instagram, other social media platforms as well, to make sure that you can orchestrate your campaigns across these devices and across these platforms and across your different cross-platform devices to make sure that you're understanding which ones are actually performing for your business. This is really important because it will give you real-time stats to show you, okay, maybe this ad set isn't working as well on Facebook, I'll try something else. Or, okay, I'm seeing a lower click-through rate on mobile compared to desktop. How can we change that imagery or that copy around? Will really help make sure that you're optimizing your campaigns so that no matter what device your target audience is seeing your ads on, they're going to be incentivized to click on it and go back to your site and make that purchase or whatever other end result you might have. So from here, you've started running your campaigns online, but one of the biggest, I think probably the biggest questions we have is, okay, we know that we need to run these campaigns, but we're not sure how to measure the success of them. We're not sure what metrics to look at or what models to use. I think the thing that we need to discuss here is a really big topic in marketing right now. It has been for the past couple of years, is attribution. Just a quick background on that. According to eConsultancy, marketing attribution is the practice of determining the role any given channel plays in informing and influencing your customer decision to convert. So this is essentially the practice of trying to decide which channel and which platform across your customer's path to conversion is actually driving the most tangible sales, or the one that is finally bringing your brand to the forefront of your customer's mind to convince them to convert, so that you can start to allocate your spend and your budget within the channels that are actually affecting the bottom line of your business. So again, this has been huge. Goes back to, as you can see here, there was an article on attribution theory and advertiser credibility in 1974. You can see this quote down at the bottom from John Wanamaker: half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. I think a lot of us in marketing have heard that before. So without a doubt, marketing attribution has been a long-standing and unsolved issue, but something that is definitely starting to get more refined and more technical at a rapid pace as we move throughout, the 20-teens. So the increasing complexity of marketing and distribution of marketing budgets is constantly growing the need of understanding where you should be investing more or where you should cut investment, right? And this is what attribution, like I discussed earlier, is aimed to help you understand what you're doing. So if you look at this, almost like the London tube map here, you can see all the different channels, the different platforms where you can show your ads online. Attribution is aimed to help you understand which one of these channels are working, which ones aren't, and which ones you need to optimize on. And the way that helps you do that is through different attribution modeling, right? And there are multiple different types of attribution modeling. I think the most popular one that we come across is rule-based click only, and that's because that's what Google Analytics has defaulted to for a very long time. We found that can be successful for some campaigns, but it's not necessarily the most sophisticated model out there. And as we've moved throughout the years, we've really moved into rule-based click and view models, and then also data-driven modeling as well, which would be like an algorithmic model here. So when you're determining what's the best solution for you for your attribution model to help measure your campaign, there are a few things that you should focus on, right? One of the biggest things that you should focus on is that it's measuring beyond click. You should go beyond click data by ingesting impressions and the cost of the other channels being used. I discussed this before, but using a click-based model would almost be like giving 100% of the credit of a ticket sale to a movie to the movie poster that's hanging outside of the theater, right? It would be completely disregarding any of the billboards or the commercials, the newspaper ads that someone might have seen for that movie. So, one thing to really focus on is making sure your attribution model is still taking into account all the channels where your ads are being shown, but not necessarily clicked, because they do definitely influence conversions throughout the funnel. You'll also want to make sure the integration is relatively painless for this and the setup within 4 weeks. If you're new to attribution modeling, you don't want to jump straight into the most complex algorithmic, needing to know, every 3-letter acronym there is within marketing out there. You want to make sure that it's painless, easy to understand, something you can build into, optimize on, integrate quickly, and then kind of run from there. You also want to make sure the time to results is low. So you want to see some results driven to it within about 2 weeks. Definitely test from there, but really look to see what's been changing after that 2-week period. The solution should also be affordable and accessible to you as well. Should definitely be data driven. It should make attribution actionable and remove the guesswork. So when you're looking at your model, it shouldn't be, okay, I think this is telling me I should change the copy because the click-through rates are worse, or I think I should stop using mobile because it changed by 1%. When you're looking at your attribution model, it should really be simple enough for you to say, okay, we should be investing in Facebook mobile more because we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of impressions served on this ad unit, or a lot of people clicking through this ad unit as well. And then transparency, that's the huge thing that we really cover on. It should deliver actionable results that are extremely transparent. You shouldn't have to ask a marketing provider or a vendor, whoever it might be, for specific metrics or what a specific metric means. It should be really transparent and open to you, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's your money and your budget that you're spending. You should definitely have someone who's truthful with you about what each of the results means for your different ad units online. So again, this is a huge opportunity as far as attribution goes, for you to make it work all together, for you to collect your data, unify it across devices by looking at it within that attribution model, and then taking those insights, those very transparent data insights, and personalizing them so that you can drive higher value for your ad units and start seeing that much higher ROI than you may have seen before, because you're able to leverage the individual platforms that are working the best for you. And all of this, of course, together will help you, buzzword orchestrate here, but it will help you orchestrate across the different platforms and really make sure that you're pivoting at a much quicker pace. Again, one easy way to do this is just to do it all within a platform like an ad roll. A lot of people will use Google Analytics, which is definitely very powerful as well. But you'll want to essentially have a platform where you can go down, look at the different models you want for attribution, whether it's first touch, last click, last touch, linear, which essentially just means all of the touch points have equal credit, time decay, which means that the longer that an ad is online, or the more touch points one sees, the less each touch point, the less credit each touch point gets. So a first touch point would get maybe 50, second, 30, third, 10, fourth, 5, so on from there, percent of the credit. So there are multiple different attribution models you can choose from, but you'll want to use a platform that will help you test each one to see which one makes the most sense for your business's needs and your business's goals. And then we'll also show you the results of that, so you know exactly where you stand and where your ads stand within the market. So at the very end here, wanted to run through some case studies of people who've seen great success with that cross-device strategy, as well as with that marketing measurement. You can see here one with a client we ran with the Los Angeles Marathon. Really wanted to engage with their past runners and grow their race by up to 10%, but they're having an incredibly hard time doing that on desktop. And I think part of that is because their brand in general just wasn't resonating, with people within a traditional display advertising environment. And one thing they really needed to hit on was the emotion behind their different ad units. One of the best platforms in order to do that is Instagram, right? Because it's picture focused. You can show runners with their medals, people, gloriously crossing the finish line, super triumphantly doing that. Really hit on the emotional aspect of finishing a marathon, which is definitely a hard feat to accomplish. So the problem, our solution to them engaging with their audiences and growing their, race registrants was to use Instagram to reach people on mobile devices outside of desktop as well, because that would really extend their reach and do it on a platform where people really want to engage with their brand. And the results, as you can see at the bottom, were really great for them. They had already noticed that Instagram was taking up a much bigger piece of the pie, but planned to advertise all of their events on it moving forward, because their attributed revenue and their ROI was something they just definitely couldn't ignore, and wanted to explore further. Secondly, here we have a more traditional e-commerce brand, Chic Shoes. They had a really interesting case behind them. They are a product selling shoes online, and they had less than a month until Black Friday to kick off their marketing campaigns, which is a very truncated time frame, and really worried about how they were going to reach people online. One of the ways that would be the best to help them, again, was to employ this cross-platform and cross-device strategy, because what this did is it enabled them to reach as large an audience as possible, because it wasn't reliant on a single person only being logged into their desktop, or only being logged into their mobile phone, or only searching on Google. It really went all the way across devices, and also outside of Google to social media and display, to make sure the ads were following them wherever they went online. And it resulted in much higher ROI and a really great CTR for their retargeting campaigns as well. So I know I ran through that pretty quickly there. If any of you have any questions, please let me know.
We have a couple. Let me go with Megan. Do you think ad roll or something similar is necessary, as I'm just starting to form my nonprofit social media strategy?
Mm-hmm. Necessary to run a social media strategy, essentially?
I think, yeah. Is any sort of software necessary at the beginning stages?
I think the great thing about an ad roll, and something that's great about us, is we are no contract, so you can come in at whatever spend level you want. Is that whatever partner you're working with is really to make sure that you're finding a partner that can help you develop that strategy online, and really orchestrate your campaigns across Facebook and measure the results. So one of the most important things that you would want to look for is a partner that has a dashboard or reporting capabilities that will help you understand which advertisements or which social posts are performing the best for you in terms of flat engagement and also results, whatever that result for you might be, whether that's a newsletter sign up or donations to your nonprofit. You would really want someone who can kind of show you what your click-through rate is, how many people who clicked on an ad actually ended up converting on your site, things like that, and that will help you continue to develop and refine your social media strategy as you move forward.
Okay. Rick has asked, he said that you mentioned at the beginning that cross-device is not the same as cross-platform. And you did a nice job defining cross-device. How do you or AdRoll define cross-platform?
Yeah, so this can be a little bit different, I think, depending on who you ask. Like I said before, cross-device would be the physical operating system that you're working on, whether that's a laptop or a mobile device or a tablet. Cross-platform, platform in this sense means the individual sphere in which your advertisements are being shown, right? So a platform could be web display ads. A platform could be social media site like a Facebook or an Instagram or social media, or a Twitter, or it could, whatever that platform is, it could be in-app ads. The platform essentially means the physical space in which your ads are being shown.
Okay. This is going to be sort of a subjective question. How much is the minimum investment on a good program for this?
That is a little bit subjective. I think a lot of that depends on your business goals. I would say one thing that you would definitely want to look at is the total number of visitors that you're getting to your site, because that will be something that will help determine how many people you can potentially retarget with ads. It will also help determine how in-depth of a audience you're able to create in order to start creating lookalike audiences or lookalike modeling off of that to help drive new audiences to your site. I would say, whatever you feel most comfortable with, that doesn't necessarily, make you feel that pain in your heart when you're spending that money. Use that, test a few different platforms, see what works for you to start, and then maybe go from there.
Okay. If you can't add tracking pixels in your third-party online apps, how can you measure conversion aside from the clicks to the loan apps?
That's a really great question, and that might be something that I would love for you to email us about, and we can follow up with later. If you're Yeah, that would be something I think would be great for you to follow up later. I'm not a pixel expert within my own company, especially for in-app ads. That would be something that I would love to follow up with.
Okay. If you have a mobile app with no desktop app or desktop sign-up process, how would you effectively use cross-device advertising for a mobile-only product?
Yeah, that kind of falls within the same sphere there. I think for mobile in-app, yeah, follow up with that question as well. We have a mobile specific product expert within my company. And if you reach out to me, it's just Elliott, ELLIOTT at adroll.com. I can answer these questions and get you a really technical and refined answer on the in-app specific questions.
Great. Do you have any resources or studies on landing page configurations that increase conversion?
We do not specifically focus on landing page conversion studies. However, there is a company out there called Unbounce, which focuses exclusively on landing pages and landing page conversions. And I know we've worked with them in the past. They do a lot of great work with that and have done a lot of studies on landing page conversion rates and how you can kind of move things around to optimize that.
Okay. How do you identify if a click is an actual user and not a robot?
Yeah, we have that a lot with bots. I will say one of the things here is to make sure when you're evaluating vendors, there are ways for vendors to ensure that ads are not being served to bots or fake people, and to really make sure that you're doing your research out there to work with a vendor that knows what they're doing in the advertising space, and knows how to make sure that their algorithms are serving your ads to high intent actual users online, people who are real people and not just bots.
Okay. Let's see here. Paul says, I'm working on an ad campaign for a nonprofit. We have a specific goal of growing signups for our networking service. What's the difference between hiring a social media consultant who will report on Facebook results and using a service like AdRoll?
Yes, so one of the great things about AdRoll is you can run social media campaigns directly through our platform. I know I hit specifically on social media campaigns as one of the best ways for cross-device here. One of the main reasons why I did that is because it's one of the simplest and easiest ways to make sure that your ads are being shown on mobile and desktop. However, just running through a Facebook consultant would keep your ads exclusively on Facebook, and then it would not ensure that your ads could reach outside of that platform. One of the great things with running with an AdRoll, a vendor like us, is that we can show your ads on mobile display as well as desktop display. We can move your ads outside of just social media, right? You want to make sure that you're not just staying within a walled garden, but your ads are reaching people wherever they go online. So if you just go to a specific consultant for a specific platform, you're really confining yourself to a box and not necessarily getting the best performance out of your ads that you could be.
Do you have some IP detection algorithms? I think this was a follow-up to the robot question.
I don't want to give a definitive answer on that. We can do IP exclusion. I know that, if that's specifically what you're asking. But if you also want to email me at the same address, Elliot@adroll.com or Elliot.moore@adroll.com, they both work. Please feel free to do that, and I can give you a more technical answer to that question.
Okay. I think I've got them all. We had a big list here, and somebody asked, do you have any advice about marketing campaigns in China or for the Chinese market? It might be a little outside the realm of.
It is a little outside. I know recently in the news they've kind of been in there because they've cracked down again a little bit on advertising within China. Yeah, I'm not an expert on that, quite honestly, so I don't think I could effectively probably answer that.
Okay. I think I've touched on them all. Of course, if I've missed a question or if you think of something later, please feel free to email us and we will get your question to the right person to get it answered. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and thanks so much to Elliot for this great information. As a reminder, we are definitely sending out the video replay and a PDF of the slides, so please look out for that. It will be in the email that you registered with, and sometimes it ends up in the spam folder, so please check there. We hope to see you for next month's Master Your Marketing presentation, and we'll be there. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.